Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Shack and part 2 of our Amiga 1200 series. In the last video we looked a bit at the history of the machine, its well-deserved cult status in retro computing, the unusual acceptance to modification that this amazing retro machine enjoys, and of course at this particular example that was donated to the Shack. We got the machine up and running after removing a lump of solder from between two of the pins on a RAM chip, and we left the episode with a working but very tatty machine and a case that had some, shall we say, issues. Well, today we're going to be concentrating on cosmetics, and we'll be starting with the keyboard. Here at the Shack, we'd like to give a big thanks to the sponsor of this video, my good friends at PCBWay. They'll be helping us out with our PCB fabrication needs and offer a very professional and high quality service for extremely reasonable prices. They can even populate your PCBs for you if you're tired of waving a hot iron around. There's a link to their website in the description where you can check out all of the amazing services they offer. Now back to the show. And here it is, and it's really quite yellowed and dirty, and even under the bleaching white lights of the workbench you can see how badly discoloured the keys are. So we're going to be taking every single keycap off and giving each one exactly the same treatment so we can get back to a uniform colour. When we start to remove them we can also see what an absolute mess it is underneath. So let's get the rest of these caps off and worry about the mess in a minute. With all of the keycaps off, we can really see what a horrible state this keyboard is in. It looks like a family of voles could have been living comfortably in here, but I'm presuming it's just general attic debris and years of accumulated dust. Either way, we'll get rid of it in a bit. I thought long and hard about what to do with these keys, and in the end I decided to go all out with a full respray and then replace all of the individual lettering. If I'd known at the start just how long this would take, I probably would have chosen a different route, but choices are limited because it seems, certainly at the moment, you can't buy new Amiga keycaps. You could, but you can't now. Anyway, what we're doing here is marking the inside of the keys with what the key is, because once it's sprayed we'd never know, and of course the keys are different shapes depending on where they are on the keyboard. Ergonomics, don't you know? Luckily I remembered to pop a little circle of tape on the caps lock key, otherwise I'd have covered up the little window and I wouldn't be able to know if I was shouting or not. So now it's time for us to give each and every key a full clean with the old anti-bac wipes to prepare them for the spraying booth. I find this oddly satisfying. So here's the first tray all cleaned and prepped. Let's get spraying. I'm outside of course so I don't die of inhaling fumes, and I'm using a technique which is a little like powder coating, where you direct the spray slightly above your target and let gravity pull the paint down. You need to give this loads of short sessions, about 20 in total I think I did, and allowing the paint to dry for a good 10 minutes between each session. So it takes a long time, but the effect is a really nice thick even coat that has a fantastic texture. And now it's time for us to sort out all the lettering, and for this we'll be using this clear WaterSlide Decal paper. This stuff is in two parts, a clear layer which is where the print goes, and a paper backing layer that slides off when it gets wet. You'll be familiar with this if you've ever had a temporary tattoo as a kid or built a plastic model airplane kit. It took me a while to find out the right font for the Amiga, but in case you're interested, it's Helvetica point size 18 for the main keys and numeric keypad, and point size 10 for the control, end, help keys, etc. I've got to say this was incredibly monotonous to do, and it's important to make sure we match the positioning of each key to the same reference key. This way each key may be very slightly off from the reference, but at least we won't drift off, which is easily done if we're comparing each new key to the last one we did. And after literally hours of this, we've ended up with a set of keys that, well, I reckon look pretty darn good. Perhaps not factory perfect, but certainly good enough for me. So I guess we'd better clean out the keyboard then. Ugh. I was not looking forward to this at all. It really was quite disgusting. Let's whiz through this, eh? It's putting me off my dinner. As much as I don't really enjoy this element of a refurbishment, I am very happy with the results. Once all the keys are popped on, I hope you'll agree that the keyboard looks really nice. I know it's not standard as I've made all the keys white rather than having the function and control keys in beige, but I hope you'll forgive me for that slight indulgence. I mean, come on, I've got actual blisters from the amount of cutting I've had to do for this keyboard. I've literally bled for my art. I'm so misunderstood. Anyway, now the keyboard's sorted, I guess we need a case to put it in. First off, full disclosure, I haven't repaired that case. This is a replacement I got off eBay. Why? Well, I have some grand ideas for that case and for a whole other Amiga 1200 project. So I'm keeping that one back. It'll be worth it, I promise. Instead, I thought for this series I'd go a little more reserved. How reserved? Well, as I was in a spraying state of mind, I masked off the important bits and then, well, went for it. Again, with spraying, we're going for plenty of thin coats, as this gives a lovely even finish and you don't lose any of the finer texture details on the case. And at this point, it was a lovely deep grey colour, and I was thinking this case with the white keys looks really awesome. But then I thought, nah, needs a splash of colour. So I guess you may be wondering, why yellow? Well, honestly, it just came to me that it might be nice. It was only while I was halfway through painting this that I realised I may have been subconsciously influenced by Lemon Amiga, one of my go-to websites for Amiga things. In any case, I think it turned out really well. Do you agree? Let me know in the comments. Okay, so I guess we should give the mainboard a once over and then pop it all back together. I'm still waiting on a full set of replacement capacitors, so they'll get replaced as soon as they arrive. We have to be careful cleaning any mainboard of course, but especially if there are patch wires such as this. These can be quite delicate and we don't want to create ourselves extra work by accidentally ripping them out. And with the mainboard looking all neat and tidy, let's reassemble the machine and put in some goodies while we're at it. First in will be this Gotek drive with a bay sprayed in that lovely striking yellow. These Gotek floppy drive replacements are always a great choice for any retro machine that supports them. Next up, we'll pop in this nice little CF card to IDE converter board so we can pop in our CF card hard disk replacement. We're using the CF card out of our recently refurbished Amiga 600 as it's the correct Kickstart and Workbench version, so should support this machine out of the box also. I'll be looking to upgrade this in a future episode to a more modern Workbench version along with WHD load and some other niceties like Ethernet or Wi-Fi support to get this machine on the web. Several people commented on the last video that the long delay waiting for the machine to boot was in fact quite standard for an Amiga 1200 without a hard disk installed, and is part of the boot process looking for a drive to boot from. With this CF card installed, we should get a much faster boot time. Last but by no means least, I'm going to reinstall this iBox Apollo 1230 Turbo Mark III brackets winner 1230 close brackets, which is still quite a mouthful, but hopefully will see us with some major speed improvements over the stock machine. The memory chips on this board are a mixed pair, but appear to be 16MB sticks each, so should give us a total of 32MB extra memory, all being well. We're in the home stretch now, everybody. Just a few things to do. Firstly, we'll pop these LEDs back into the top case. And things will really start to come together when we drop this keyboard in. Well, blimey, that looks really nice. Just need to pop this membrane connector in and push it firmly down. Need to just move that keyboard slightly while we plug in the LEDs. And then we can replace the keyboard and close up the old girl. And here's the finished product ready to boot into Amiga loveliness, and she certainly looks like a totally different animal from when she first entered the shack. She's gone from a rather wretched lump of discoloured and misshapen plastic to this, well, ray of sunshine. So really all that's left to do is to boot her up and see if all is well, and if that accelerator board is working too. With everything plugged in and ready, let's hit the switch and see if this lovely machine goes as well as it looks. Certainly less of a delay in the boot time and not getting stuck on any odd colours. That's all a good sign. Looking at the top of our workbench screen, we can see we have 2MB of chip RAM standard, and all of the 32MB on the accelerator board seems present and correct too. Let's load up sysinfo and see what sort of performance boost we're getting out of this board. And that's pretty impressive. We're showing 6.35 times as fast as a stock A1200, and this should make this machine a very usable tool. Well, that's about it for this episode. Sorry it took a while to upload, but I hope that the work involved was worth the wait. As always, thanks for watching, and if you like the video, please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for notifications of new content. We'd also love your support either through Patreon or through Ko-Fi if you appreciate what we do and are in a position to do so. If you'd like to donate something to the shack, drop us an email. Please leave your comments below, as we always love to read them, and until next time in the Retro Shack, it's goodbye from me.